All right, first up on the show, we've seen a lot of ethnic wear brands that are targeting Gen Z, and they are certainly garnering a lot of interest when it comes to venture investors. Brands like Libas as well as Koski have secured significant funding. So, what is the trend of young Indians? Wearing a lot of ethnic wear to work? How are we looking at brands really capitalizing on this and a lot of investors showing interest within the space? Let's find out from Sidhant Keshwani. He is the founder and CEO at Libas. Thanks so much for taking time out. Given that we have seen the branded or the organized Indian ethnic wear market at about 30 to 35,000 crore rupees, it's growing at a 20 to 25% rate. How are you looking at the overall landscape given that a lot of VC investors are eyeing the space closely with pretty strong investments?
So honestly, if you've seen over the last 5 to 6 or 7 years, rather, uh, e-commerce or social media has actually really helped scale up this particular category, which was actually on a downward trend about like a decade back, where people were moving more towards Western wear and was actually looking at Indian wear or ethnic wear as slightly old-fashioned kind of a segment. But now, with social media coming in and brands like us, fast fashion brands who are trying to modernize how people look at Indian wear. The industry has actually evolved quite a lot over the last 6 to 7 years. There have been a lot of fusion or modern or Western trend that have been actually adapted by Indian techniques or Indian silhouettes that has helped kind of scale this category up. uh, Fast fashion was actually never really a term which resonates with Indian wear, right? But that's what our USP was when we launched. We thought that there is a really open space in the fast fashion category for Indian wear, and I think that's where the category is headed today. We actually see so many offices or colleges, girls and women wearing Indian wear, and in fact, their silhouettes are actually at par or probably sometimes even more high fashion than what we see when people wear Western wear.
And we've seen a lot of other Indian focused new age companies as well entering this space. They are also on the radar of some of these venture funds. How are you looking at the interest only picking up and growing?
I think there's going to be some great interest. In fact, we just closed our last round just a month back, and we've seen some great investments. We are going to see, in fact, in months and years to come, we're going to see some great investments in this field because this is actually a field unlike a lot of other fashion and lifestyle categories, which are dominated by international brands. This is something that probably which is true and is very homegrown or brands which are locally available. Those are the ones who are actually scaling up and now taking Indian wear on a global level, right? Hence, we are seeing a lot of investments coming in. In fact, uh, especially post-COVID, we've seen this trend going really, really high with e-commerce or Indian wear, ethnic wear e-commerce brands coming in and creating a niche for themselves. Social media has helped a lot in scaling brands on a pan-India level. So if you would know that, Indian wear was always dominated by the unorganized sector over the last 20, 30 years. And most cities and towns had, those local retailers and most households would actually go to their local retailers to kind of buy Indian wear. All that has changed. The aspirations in the country are increasing. People are now, with e-commerce coming in, looking at brands which have created aspiration in metros across India, and even smaller towns are now wishing to kind of buy from them. Hence, even VCs see a huge potential that a market which is going to be almost as big as $30 billion over the next 1 or 2 years, seeing that it's still being dominated by 96, 97% unorganized sector. And now, with so many brands coming in, the potential or the gap in the market is so huge that brands, you will see a lot of 500,000 crore brands in this category over the next 4 to 5 years.
Now, if we were to talk about Libas in particular, you guys raised about 150 crore rupees in the month of May from ICICI Venture. Take us through how you're looking at the funding environment. Are you guys looking at more fundraising as well?
So essentially, so we started out as a D2C brand. We were an e-commerce digital first brand, and that's how and we were completely bootstrapped for the first 7, 8 years of the business. and grown successfully. We raised our last round essentially to scale up our offline operations because our aspiration as a brand is to be a completely end-to-end omni-channel brand over the next couple of years. We're looking to open approximately 100, plus stores over the next 1.5, 2 years across India, across the country. And that's essentially why we raised funds. And we're also going to be using those funds to kind of scale up our marketing aspirations, because as we now go pan India offline into smaller geographies and metros, etc., there's going to be a requirement of deep penetration in terms of marketing. And hence, majorly the funds are going to be used in that direction.
And we've seen this trend of even within Libas that you guys are repositioning yourself from just an ethnic wear brand to now an Indian wear brand. Is that some sort of a trend that you see continuing? Are you going to derive more growth from the tier 2 and 3 cities? What kind of market share expansion are you looking at?
So I think as we set out a journey even in the e-commerce space as starting out from metros. We created aspiration, we penetrated metros deeply, and in the later stage of our journey, we actually started penetrating the smaller towns, tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. And I think we're going to follow a similar direction when it comes to our offline expansion as well. We're starting majorly with metros, state capitals, and as we penetrate these, we're going, of course, by default, our next level of growth is going to come from smaller towns. So, as of now, we are deeply trying to penetrate the smaller towns through e-commerce. And in, I think, 1 or 2 years, we'll probably kind of start our offline journey there as well.
Right, and you've clocked in a revenue of about 500 crores in the last fiscal. You're aiming for 1,000 crores by FY26. What's making you so optimistic?
No, so we've essentially been a bootstrap company over the last 10 years, which has, of course, taught us the discipline of not running business in losses. We've always been a profitable business. And I think because of the discipline we've had since day one, I think even today, even at the last year that we've closed it profitably. And we're going to continue the same trajectory over the next 1 or 2 years.
And you've gone ahead and said that you derive majority of your revenues from online streams. You're also looking to expand your offline strategy. Tell us a little bit more.
Of course, the long-term vision for the brand is that we are going to put Indian fashion on the global map. We aspire to be a global brand over the next 5 to 7 years. And the vision is pretty clear. As of now, we are we're putting in all the efforts to grow our omni-channel strategies within India. We just launched our international website just 4 to 5 months back to kind of test out the international markets, which geographies are doing well. Once we probably get better insights on those, we might after the next 2 to 3 years, where we feel we've penetrated most of the regions in India, we might start opening stores globally as well. And that essentially is the long-term game plan for the brand and the vision for the brand. But yes, as of now, we are really excited about our growth journey in the country. We are really excited how people are now looking to buy brands, and we've seen certain kind of loyalty picking up. In fact, we have one of the highest repeat rates in the industry in the fashion category, which is at somewhere around 35 to 40%, which is unheard of for most brands. And I feel that's majorly because of probably the consistency, and also because getting as a fast fashion brand, our major responsibility is to get new trends to the market as soon as possible. And I think that's helped us in getting confidence on the consumers that whatever we kind of get, it's going to be fashion forward, it's going to be value centric. So that's what I'm saying, that consistency has always been a key for us. And that's what we're going to use over the next 4 to 5 years to grow the brand as well.
All right, good to have you on board. Thank you so much for joining in.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.